So tell me, have any of you heard of Joe Ruby or Ken Spears? Yeah, you could have, but wouldn't surprise me if you hadn't. Although I can assure you that we've all seen their work.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now.
But wait, wasn't Scooby-Doo created by Hanna-Barbera? Not really. Hanna-Barbera, creators of Tom and Jerry, the Flintstones, Yogi Bear, and the like, wanted a mystery-based premise for one of their new Saturday morning TV shows. However, they handed the actual product off to two sound editors turned writers. So Ruby and Spears, along with artist Iwao Takamoto, created one of the longest-running active franchises in animation history. Yeah, I don't think there's ever been a gap bigger than 5 years between the numerous Scooby-Doo shows, TV specials, and direct-to-video movies since its creation. Naturally, after you created a monumentally lucrative property for your bosses, you want to see if you can do the same for yourself. So Ruby Spears started producing their own cartoons, but their shows were so much like Hanna-Barbera's, a lot of people couldn't tell the difference. It didn't help that they used a lot of the same studios, but their subject matter was nearly identical. Straight out of Hanna-Barbera's playbook, we have shows based off live-action characters and celebrities like Mr. T and Punky Brewster. Shows based off toys and video games like Rubik's Cube, Laser Academy, Dragon's Lair, Sat AM, and all the Supercade shorts. And my favorite, take a show that they've made for Hanna-Barbera and tweak it just enough to start their own new series. Aside from all the Scooby-Doo clones Hanna-Barbera created, Ruby Spears' first show was Fang Face, about a mystery-solving group of teenagers, but one of them is a werewolf. Obscurus Lupa wishes she was in this show. Instead of this one. Take Speed Buggy, set it in outer space, and let's see if we can take a little from Fat Albert while we're at it.
It's Rickety Rocket and the gang! Cosmo!
Goldie! Splashdown! Sunstroke! Rickety Rocket!
Oh my god! That's horrible! Who names their kid Sunstroke? Or in the case of today's subject, a clone of Hanna-Barbera's Richie Rich, Goldie Gold. Basically like Richie Rich, only with a hot chick. Which I am almost certain was the working title, since both of these actually aired at the same time. I love how the main characters seem to have forgotten all the things that they've done. Huh? Huh. Yeah.
Goldie's newspaper, the Gold Street Journal.
Ah, the afterburners burnt my face! My beautiful face! It was the only thing I had! The pilot episode is featured on Warner Brothers' Saturday Morning Cartoons, 1980s edition. A sampler of cartoons from the Hanna-Barbera archives acquired by Warner Brothers that were nowhere near popular enough to warrant a DVD release. Of course, what's more unnerving is the fact that the only thing I can find of Goldie online is an intro. Bye, Tor! As well as the title, which is foreboding for completely unintentional reasons. You know, oddly enough, I don't own a copy of this movie. Isn't that strange? Remember when we could trust rich white girls to fly helicopters through the city? Man, times have changed.
All clear for landing?
You got it, Goldie. Welcome home. You too, Nugget.
Named her Dog Nugget. It's like Dollar, but not. What an unoriginal bimbo. Oh crap, the mic's still on.
You'd think, but no. Goldie literally drops in on her own party. Meanwhile, some Incans, yes, Incans, try to break into her house. Now you're probably wondering, why Mesoamerican warriors? Well, actually, it's a simple solution to the pirate versus ninja debate. You see, you have the old world cunning and stealth of a ninja with all the flair and pageantry of a pirate. I hear the trend is huge in Austin right now. We see that the Incans' goal was to capture a scientist and a couple of astronauts. And Goldie, seeing someone not pay attention to her, gives chase.
You can't chase them indoors in a helicopter!
Oh yeah? Just watch me!
Now, if I may state the obvious, 1, if you can actually fly a helicopter in your home and not knock everyone on their asses from the wind, you spent too much on the house. And 2, if your helicopter can't catch people weighed down by other people running on foot, you paid too much for the helicopter. But the Incans escape using the old world techniques of carjacking, explosives, and the deadly shuggy toss.
They got away. Now what do we do?
We go to the newspaper office and we look for a lead.
It appears we have a problem, my warriors. A problem by the name of Goldie Gold. She has chosen to meddle in the plans of the Crystal Skull, and she must therefore be eliminated.
Yeah, he's the scientist. I know I should be pointing out how a stone throne is the most ridiculous thing you could put in this impossibly huge limo interior. I'm sorry, but I can't believe how obvious this is. 3 people were kidnapped and 2 are tied up and 1 is wearing a mask. He's Mustache Professor. I mean, he's a professor with a mustache. I mean, he could be a professor of mustaches. We don't know. We only saw him for like, what, a couple seconds? We don't even know what he does.
You may own this paper, Goldie, but I'm the editor. And I want to know why you're poking around in my files.
Professor Harker was captured and taken from my party tonight.
Thomas Harker? The guy who designed this country's space satellites?
And 2 Air Force men named Bolin and Ripley.
The astronauts? With Harker's knowledge and those 2 flyboys under control, a man could destroy the Earth.
You see? Time and time again, it's been proven that if the rich are in control of the media, not only will they encourage unbiased and responsible journalism, but they will personally use the information to fight despots. Just like how Rupert Murdoch, along with his sexy sidekick and pet weasel Tapper, stopped a platoon of frogmen from drilling into the Earth's core. It's true! I saw it on Fox! So, after tossing herself out the window instead of calling the police or security for the building she owns, Goldie runs into a familiar face of her own.
They couldn't have gotten far.
Goldie? Honey, is that you?
Hobo Joe, what are you doing here?
I moved to this alley a couple of months ago.
Not to interrupt the reunion, but you didn't happen to see a couple of Inca warriors run by, did you?
My good man, those guys didn't run by. They lammed out of here in a black limo.
Thanks, Joe. You've been an enormous help.
For you, sweetheart, anything.
Okay. It's not just me, right? That was messed up, right? Your house is bigger than the buildings in the Raid and Judge Dredd combined. And you can't help this guy out? I mean, even if he doesn't want your money, can you at least, give him a job or psychiatric help? And maybe get some for yourself, because seriously, you seem to have this compulsion to needlessly endanger yourself and others. So the Crystal Skull gets away after sinking Goldie's rocket car, but they survive because, well, doesn't money always buy second chances for those that don't deserve it? And then they go and get on a swimming pool jet. Hobo Joe has to eat out of the trash can, and you have a pool where half the water splashes out from turbulence or just landing. Nice to see you have your priorities straight, Goldie.
If you were an Inca trying to hide out in the modern world, where would you go?
The space between spaces?
How about an ancient Incan stronghold, high on a mountaintop and almost impossible to get to?
Machu Picchu, of course!
Yeah, because Machu Picchu isn't a protected landmark that draws hundreds of thousands of tourists a year. So no one will notice this.
Take them to the lava pit.
And it has a lava pit! I'm learning so much today. So naturally, Goldie and the gang get caught.
We've been snared!
What?
We've been snared!
I don't know why that's so funny to me.
Snared!
And so we finally find out the Crystal Skull's plan.
As you drop toward your doom, Miss Gold, I shall be soaring into space. My ship, piloted by the astronauts Ripley and Bolin, will be destroying Earth's communications and military satellites. Chaos will reign the Earth, and the destruction will not cease until I am declared ruler of the world!
Of course!
I think he's crazy!
I must be crazy too, because it looks like you're floating in thin air. Oh god, Crystal Skulls, spaceships, it's all happening again. So as the Skull ship takes off, we see that, okay, they used the shot 3 times. Nobody noticed the invisible rope.
Good boy, Nugget.
It's working! We're swinging away from the pit! Why on earth would you have a jet tube hidden in your heel?
In case we fell off the mountain, of course.
Logical.
We'll go after him in my space shuttle.
Hobo Joe has to bathe himself with wet naps he gets from people leaving Chili's. And you have a personal spacecraft. So the Crystal Skull is blasting satellites in space and... Wait a minute, I just realized something. They never explained how they're controlling the two astronauts. So what, is that really the Crystal Skull?
Get us out of here!
We'll retreat to my satellite mansion.
Hobo Joe has to wake up every morning and disinfect the rat bites he got during the night with discarded orange peels. And you have a fucking space mansion? A fully furnished, life-sustaining mansion in space that's completely empty. That's it. I'm rooting for the Skull. His plan was stupid and wasn't going to work anyway. The least he could do is chop off Goldie's head and roll it down a pyramid. Yeah, I know that's Mayans, but they probably don't know that.
Keep him away! Just for a second, Nugget!
Wait a minute. This lever was supposed to cover you in delicious McCormick artificial gravy. Why would gravity controls be in a kitchen? That's just silly.
Gravity's back, Skullface!
Oh my god, Mustache Professor. Who would have guessed it was him? I bet that mustache isn't even real.
I figured it out back in Peru. His capture at the party was a fake to throw suspicion off him. A guy who could build a spaceship didn't need to capture a satellite scientist. So the Skull had to be Harker himself.
No, that doesn't make any sense at all. If he's the guy that designed the satellites, wouldn't he have some kind of kill code he could just use from Earth? And couldn't he think of a way to actually use the satellites to his advantage instead of just, blowing them up? And why would he kidnap the pilots in front of Goldie at a huge party? Doesn't he work with them? Couldn't he, invite them back to his house or something? Why make a huge scene where everyone in town will see it? And whose arm is this? Okay, again, I have to ask, are those astronauts still under mind control? Because they don't exactly seem responsive.
So much for the case of the Crystal Skull.
Sorry, Jack. Didn't mean to scare you. What do you think? Should I save it for Halloween?
And so Goldie is so bemused with herself, she doesn't even realize that she set course for Jupiter. I never really paid much attention to Richie Rich, but the one thing I could take away was that he had a friendly demeanor and boyhood innocence. It's easy to turn him into a wasteful, cocky parody, but actually he just seems like a kid. Goldie Gold, on the other hand, feels like that parody. An obnoxious thrill seeker who's oblivious to the feelings and safety of those around her. She's not charming or very likable. Richie Rich never took a mid-caper dip in a pool. And that Hobo Joe thing just knocks me on my ass every time. What's that saying? Of course rich people deserve more. They take all the risks and keep the world safe. And poor people should just be happy with the way things are. Like some kind of Saturday morning Atlas shrug. The only real solace I have is knowing that Goldie is a newspaper tycoon in the 1980s. A newspaper tycoon. Which means that in about 15 years, when the internet goes mainstream, well... Hey, Goldie. Say hi to Hobo Joe for me.
Nothing beats the hobo life, stabbing folks with my hobo knife.
We're in the money. We're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. We're in the money. The sky is sunny. Oh man, depression, you are through. You done us wrong. Oh, we never see headline about red line today. And when we see the landlord, we can look that guy right in the eye. Oh, we're in the money. Come on, my honey. Let's lend it, spend it, send it rolling around. Boy, we're in the money. I say we're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along.
Man, the twist in this episode was lame. Not like the one in the series finale.